So, hello to whoever's channel you're on. We thought it would be beneficial for ourselves, as well as possibly posting this regarding kind of what's going on and what we know many others are going through right now, because we're not the only ones. So we wanted to come up and talk about conscious relationships and
the evolution of our relationship and partnership,
and conscious breakups
and unconscious uncoupling.
Yeah, conscious uncoupling, as many people call. Granted, a lot of this is just to be real, and to show kind of what it's like going through it, but also to talk that it doesn't have to end the old way. And I think that's been the biggest thing that has been for us about just a little bit of our journey, what's been going on recently, that I think other people are, as you begin to expand, as you begin to grow your energy body, and you begin to grow as an individual and evolve, about having to consciously step off timelines to create new timelines, and also the fact that it doesn't have to end ugly. And so I think this is a moment where both of us are going to get very real in a cool way. And I think it's a good practice for our journeys just to be ourselves.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely been a very emotional time and a very emotional experience in many levels for me, and I will speak for both of us. A lot of emotions have come up, and they're supposed to. Essentially, that's one of the reasons why we get into relationships in the first place, because we agree to come together with someone so that the other person can show us something about ourselves that we can't see for ourselves on our own.
Well, and the thing is that, you know, there was a lot of I'm gonna call it new age fluff that we got into, which is the whole like the twin flame thing, soulmates. We've had so many different titles that we've come across, and from different readers and different people. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is that, first off, and you know, I've been talking about this on my own channel, because I haven't opened up about what's really going on. Only a few people really know. Is that you have to love yourself first, like authentically, really, truly, deep down, love yourself fully and wholly before these things really can work, especially if you're in what we would call a twin relationship, which doesn't mean that this is my other half or any of that stuff. It's more that we serve as sacred mirrors, as a representation of witnessing that which we don't like about ourselves or what we need to integrate. And so that, of course, on the journey can be very tricky to navigate. But then as we begin to expand as well, is when you know that the best step for both parties' evolution is to evolve apart. And how can you begin the process of uncoupling? There was something for us where I had found another couple discuss this recently, and I was like, it was a while ago, it was about a year ago, when we first got together, the first thing I tuned into was that Sam had said, okay, let's get you healthy and let's get you to your next place. And it kind of, you know, we were just talking about this, I have this soothsayer kind of prophecy thing that can happen, and granted, with timelines, I don't really attach to it anymore when I see into the future, but I knew for us there was going to be a part, and we saw it numerous times, where we would have to go our separate ways. And we were preparing for this actually for about a year. About a year we've been prepping for it. And the biggest thing was for us was we would constantly check in and go, you know, is this still working? Because there is that evolution of things going back and forth in the relationship, and knowing that like when our contracts were done, we would upgrade them. Like immediately it was like, okay, we normally knew it because we knew there was going to be a breakup coming, and we knew that we pushed through a lesson, or we pushed through a lifetime, or we pushed through something, we would split for about 3 or 4 days and then come back together. But then there's this moment where can the relationship evolve past there's certain point, and there's this level of stagnancy that was happening in our businesses, in our own personal lives. And so we started to have the real discussion about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I don't know, some time ago.
We actually talked about it on our 2-year anniversary.
Oh yeah, it was, so yes, it was December
18, 19, one of those.
Yeah, there was this moment where the higher self stepped in, because honestly at the time it seemed so right, and then of course it was like over the next couple of months was like, what the heck am I doing here? But that was a part of the process of uncoupling and like getting all that stuff out. Salud.
Sorry, thank you.
Going through all the fear, all the abandonment, and more of it.
Oh yeah.
And more of it's still coming up. But the biggest thing is that we had to recognize too that the foundation of our reality was built on very impure intentions.
Yeah. Based on lack and fear.
And abandonment and savior complex. And a lot of that, when we recognized what we're trying to evolve into and what we're trying to create, it was just, the reality kept collapsing on us. And we realized it was like, some point we need to let these timelines clear and everything settle for us to move on our way. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the uncoupling process, because I feel like I know in my old life, being a man, I was really good at just ghosting, like cutting out, especially if I felt hurt, just cutting out and dipping out and not talking again and just really suppressing everything. And so the biggest thing has been making peace with the whole situation and discussing a proper route for it to occur in a time frame that was suitable for both of us. And, you know, all of those things, you know, what if you have another partner, you know, what, you know, and not to like play with the future, but to like really make peace with the fact that she has her journey and I have mine. And how can we honor that and still remain friends? Because there's still a huge amount of love and care. And this is still one of my best friends in the world. And so, and a part of that is sometimes when you're in a situation where it can't work together, but it can work apart, how can we, rather than it be all or nothing, like, oh, it's just a partnership and nothing else. No, we can stay friends and stay amicable and stay peaceful. And how can we keep that unified in our uncoupling, where I can still be there for her, she could be there for me, and we can remain friends regardless of what the future holds.
Absolutely. I'm not sure how this ties in, but what came through was just to share how it's been I said emotional, and I'm gonna say it again. Because it just so happened to, after we made that decision, a month after, I had this physical experience with my eye, and so it just kind of brought everything to, it brought a lot of things up for me, basically, and it was kind of overload, in a way. And when you get to an overload place, energetically and emotionally, it really does create an opportunity for you to make a lot of space for what's to come. And so it's definitely like going through hell, but we both know that this next phase of our journey is going to be pretty big, and it's going to kind of propel us for the bigger mission and like the bigger purpose. And so in order for us to be prepared and be ready for that, we have to clear a lot of the old gunk and junk and programs and cords and ties and attachments. And so it's been quite challenging, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know, you do go through the heartbreak, and it's one of those things where like you have a heartbreak for leaving, but you also have a heartbreak for staying. It's this really weird dynamic that we have in this planet right now with the karmic twins and all the programming that goes along with it. And it's, I'm not even gonna get into it, but it's really fucked up in a way. And so this is where it's been, I'll say, a blessing in disguise for both of us to be this aware of what's going on and be really open and truthful and honest about how the dynamics of the relationship wasn't supporting
either
ourselves, wasn't supporting the journey, wasn't supporting our purpose. And so it's been a blessing to have someone that, it's been a blessing knowing that my partner is on the same wavelength, basically, and that we both can honor each other and we can still love each other by uncoupling and separating.
Yeah.
And so this is where the new ways are coming, where it doesn't have to be the romanticized love that so many people look for or glorify and put on a pedestal, because it's so much deeper than that. And there is this really sacredness and purity to being able to honor someone else and honor your own self, your light, your journey, your mission, your body, your soul, by allowing that person to be fully free from the cords and free from the attachments that we both held.
And the timelines. Together. The big one has been the timelines, because I know it's affected me a lot more than her. And that's why, for me, there's been a lot of why I haven't been posting a lot or doing a whole lot of content, is because there's been a lot going on behind the scenes that was really affected by the timeline that we occupied together. And, you know, the other thing too is there was this point where for us, we tried everything to make this work, and there was still that feeling of something wasn't right. And as soon as we discussed it, that's when the healing started to occur. That's when we were blown up and like, oh, wait a minute, like there's this whole self-love component that both of us, and if one person's practicing it and the other person isn't, it's just not going to work. And then there's just so many other components, especially when you go into physical body ascension, right? Like, you need a lot of space for your field to expand. And to live in an RV, or even at the time a 1-bedroom apartment, even sleeping in the same bed for us, we had to stop sleeping in the same bed a while ago. We did in Minnesota because we only had a bed. We had two. We had 2 beds. Oh yeah, we did have 2 beds.
Yeah. We would switch on and off.
But there was a period of time where a lot of things that in the beginning of the relationship were okay. It started to get more tricky to navigate. A lot of energy blending that was occurring, a lot of not being able to figure out whose was what. And a part of the dynamics of the relationship was I took on a lot of her stuff and she took on a lot of mine. And that was a part of the old contracting system and the reason the relationship came together. And it got to the point where there was numerous points where I didn't even know who I was anymore, because there's so much energy blending that we had to choose to consciously start to separate that energy. And also make sure that when we parted ways, it was going to be amicably and where it was highest aligned for both of us. But the biggest thing was how much the energies change when we're alone. and how we're able to access more of our gifts, more of our abilities. And a big part of that is freedom, freedom from, it's not the fact that I don't love Samantha or don't care about Samantha. It's just that the way the reality was functioning, especially the whole switch into the inorganic to the organic realities, it's important for me to step into an organic reality from, and a big part of that with honoring my soul is that I come from a life path that wasn't so fun to be on, and I'm ready for an easier life financially. I'm ready to do more. I've got there, and that's the thing about this is where we have to then go, what's more important, our pathway, our timeline, our mission, or this? And at the end of the day, this can exist, it's just we're gonna be friends. And a part of that is I feel like once we started to uncouple, I found more respect for her and more respect for myself, because we finally got to sit down and talk about all, we say, some people will say don't apologize because it's all the unification, it's all a part of the soul's journey. You shouldn't forgive, you should remember. But for me, a big piece was apologizing and also talking about what I forgave her for, because it gave her insight onto things that didn't work, and it shed light on things. And she did the same with me, where we could really go within and look at it was like, as soon as we started to part ways, it's like all of our baggage fell on the floor, all the things we couldn't see or didn't want to see. And then thank you to Mercury retrograde, we've just been looking at it, in the past couple months has been like, here's all your SHIT, just are you ready to let it go? And so, and that's the cathartic healing from this, and to say that it's easy, it's not. It's really hard, it hurts, but it's very it's a soothing pain. Like, it's one of those, and it's not in a distorted, twisted I like pain kind of a way. It's in this, like, I know that right now when I cry these tears and I scream and yell and do what I need to do, I'm freeing myself. And so there's a freedom from it, and this joy, and there's this honoring that can occur that I think is really beautiful, because I know other people are going through this, and frankly, I didn't want to be one of those people that shares this to get attention or to share this so we could get, it's really actually that there's more going through this, and I know a part of our life is going to be helping other people that are going through this too, that have to do this, because we had the readers that said that we're twin flames, and we thought it was going to be happily ever after forever, the end. And it's not to say that it isn't going to be, it's just right now it isn't, and if so, it's going to be in a different format. It's not going to be as ooey gooey.
Exactly. It's not the way that others probably expect or want, or even how we ourselves expected it to be. This is where love is evolving. Relationships are evolving. Partnerships are merging. There's so much change and shifts and evolution that's happening right now. And because relationships and because marriage is a foundational part of society and the system that we've been brought in, it's going to, this is one of the things that's going to change a lot of things. But when you start to truly look at yourself and see yourself for who you are and what you came here to do and what you came here to be, and really honor and respect that, then you're going to be more allowing of that shift and that change that happens, because you know that it's easy to say, oh, everything's changing and everything, it's wonderful in the earth and whatever. But the changes that we have to do in order to actually get there are not going to be easy. And they're not going to be simple. And they're going to go against probably everything that you've been taught and everything you believe. And it's going to test you over and over and over. so that we can come into this new place of really embodying who we are, which is another big part of the journey, like learning who we are as we are and all that we bring forth. I mean, we still our human mind can't really comprehend all that we are and all that we came here to be. And so that's another big part of the journey, that it does take a lot of self reflection and a lot of like alone time, a lot of your own space, a lot of time with nature for you to actually figure out. And this is where for us it was very obvious that took precedent over the ooey gooey and even obviously the old ways of functioning in a relationship and all the distortion that we had and all the connections and attachments that we had together. And so that's been, like we said, it's been hard, but the more that you look at it and the more you come to terms with it and you come to kind of accept that this is what's going on, you do start to make changes, and you do start to make those choices and those decisions and those steps to not hold on to those ways and not to hold on to that reality.
And also too is that we're in a phase now where the blueprints are everything soul aligned. And so if this isn't soul aligned, we got to let it go. But also another piece was that when I started to step into my higher levels of galactic embodiment, at whatever level they are, I can't impede on anyone's journey. And so a lot of that is like, if she needs to go have a journey, she needs to go on that journey. I can't stop her. I have to let her go. And so a lot of this was my higher self was telling me, this is what you need to let her go. And a lot of that was at the time didn't make sense. And a lot of it's mission stuff too. Like if she's got to go to another country to go do some work and I'm supposed to be over here, it's just, we can't do that. And then the other part too is if one person's meant to have a child and the other person isn't meant to have a child in this life, how's that going to happen here? Because there's so much going on with the coding, DNA and genetics, where there's a lot of things that can't be intertwined anymore. And it affects us at a great level, and it takes a lot to recover from, and that's been the biggest thing for us, has been when we're going through these waves of change, we're not bouncing back as quick because our fields are so close, and there's so many other variables like to get into it all. It's pretty complex. And at the end of the day, it's a very simple answer, which was just, this is what we need to do, no matter how much it hurts, which it does, but it's breaking open. It's breaking open, and it's really going through and ripping out all of that stuff that kept us small, stuck, limited, thinking of ourselves less than, all of those things. It's like, so, and that's, I feel like a lot of people forget that that's the beauty sometimes is, the song, Jump In, Let Go just came through by Frau Frau, there's beauty in the breakdown. And he goes, let go, jump all in. Oh, it's all amazing here. It's all right because there's beauty in the breakdown. That's been like, and a lot of that is we're ready to jump full in to our new earth realities, and birthing those and being self-supporting, self-sustaining. And so a lot of that is like, this is a part of us letting go and jumping all in, is having to let go of the one thing. And the biggest thing was having to go, because I've talked about this before, about breathing in and going, okay, what in my reality do I need to let go of? And letting go of everything but the one thing that you're being shown to let go of, and your reality just keeps going the same way. It's like, okay, well, this is how we go all in. And, and the other thing too is a lot of people like me, I've been in an accelerated lifespan since I walked in a few years ago. So when I had my walk-in, my life started going 95 miles an hour. And so a lot of this is come in, I know I got a contract, cool, we go in, we get everything done. once the contract's fulfilled, if we can upgrade the agreement to something where it's got a new framework, where it's not like, because like we met like very sticky, icky, ooey gooey relationship, and then we've upgraded it a few times, because our contract was done way long ago. We just keep upgrading it if we want to see how it works, and then if it can't evolve past a certain point, which I was seeing there's a vibrational bandwidth where it couldn't last in that vibrational bandwidth, that's when we have to honor and part ways. And so with this is like, can we honor the fact that like we have contracts to fulfill, and the sooner we get it done and let go, the easier our life will get. And it really is, it takes having to be a little bit detached sometimes, but also it's not detached, I'd say neutral. And then being very honest that that's just, this is what the journey is,
it's about being really honest. And the more that you understand, and the more that you open your mind and open your heart, that you know what, we chose this journey together to help each other, accelerate one another, bring all our junk to the surface. You get to appreciate it for what it is. Essentially all your relationships do that. But this is a big thing with letting go, like you said, and not attaching, because a lot of the relationships that we've had in the past were built on lack, and therefore we attach, we hold on to the person, we hold on to the relationship, we hold on and we hope and we think, let's try it again and let's keep working on it. And this is where being really true and honest about you, your needs, your soul, your light, and what supports you is really, really important. Because anything that you're attached to, you're gonna have to let it go consciously, and sometimes the universe takes it away. If our human is too stubborn and our human is just too scared to let go, or too scared of what could happen, then sometimes we take the harsher route. But
and that's the thing for me, is I finally had a moment of, I told my universe, I'm ready now to be fully supported by you. I trust you. I surrender to this abundant universe. I'm going to allow you to support me. Within 3 days, Samantha was planning on leaving, and my parents are going. So it's like, as soon as I said that, everything left. Like, I started to lose friends. I was like, what's going on? Well, it's because that was showing me that there was some sort of attachment thing like that. And the biggest thing was like, restructuring my business, letting go of services, having to let go of a lot of different clients, saying no, a lot of, when you begin to choose the integrity of the soul and then allow the universe to support you, it's just like, there goes everything. Well, it's a part of space creation, it's creating that space for that new to arrive. But that was the biggest thing too, was as soon as I said, I'm ready, universe. I'm so, because I had those breaking points where I was so done with the programming. I was done with the guilt, the shame, the judgment. I was done with trying to figure out so many different aspects of my life, that I said, I'm ready for you to support me. And that's when it was like,
okay,
everything started to part way. My ear is going off right now. Interesting. So yeah, really, at the end of the day though, I know there are others that are going through this right now, and they're like, how the heck am I going to do it? Well, the biggest thing for us has been conscious communication about it. I'm like, yeah, I definitely got distorted. I definitely got angry, and I definitely, had my frustrations. But we've always found a way to sit down and to get real about it, and to know that we're two souls, higher selves, figuring this out with two human personalities as well. And so honoring that, honoring the fact that there's going to be emotions that come to the surface. We still comfort each other. Like, when I'm crying, she'll come up, give me a hug. Same, I'm always going to be there for her. It's just not going to be in the old way that it was. And with that has been this whole, like, we knew that a part of this was blueprinting this dynamic of how people can get out of a relationship and uploading that to the grid. So then we can begin to end the war between the masculine and the feminine. And it doesn't have to be, because the biggest thing is that once I could have, especially with all the stuff that I knew, I could have at any point in time said, distorted masculine, F you, get the F out of here, and done this whole blow up routine, and then had a resentment against women, and then walked out, and every woman that I encountered for the rest of my life was Samantha, mom, and all my other exes showing up and creating that discord over and over. So a lot of this too is looking at the big level, like how can we amicably split but then keep the dynamic sacred between the man and the woman, so we can keep that unified principle of the fact that, like, yeah, this happens, like, this is life. You know, we change, especially in this process of evolution. I'm not the same person I was a week ago, and I'm definitely not the same person. I'm not Thought Soldiers, which is how we met, was Thought Soldiers in
Awakening with Sam,
or Samantha Rodriguez blog.
Oh my god.
Samantha Rodriguez blog and Thought Soldiers, which is definitely not us anymore.
Gosh.
And that I'm being silly here, but like, we're not the same individual.
No, we're not.
And so can you honor the fact that
exactly.
And I feel like there was stages where even in the change it was still okay, but now the gap is so much bigger that like it's like, yeah, a lot of this is I have to go out on my own and figure some stuff out for a little while. And I've got things to build, I've got people to meet and people to see, and while I'm excited.
Same here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When it comes to, so this applies to pretty much any and every relationship that you have. This isn't just a twin flame dynamic. This happens as I cough.
Yeah.
This is for, this will probably happen to everyone that still has a relationship with someone that is based on the old, the fear, and the lack. And so even if you are feeling this way about your current relationship or even marriage, and even if you have children, this is where we have to honor your soul and your light, because when you do, then you're honoring theirs, and you are allowing them to honor theirs as well. And children are so awake right now, so flipping extraordinarily awake, that they probably don't even have the same views and programs that we have about love and relationships and marriage. And so it may even be a lot easier than you think, but doors will open, and support is also opening up, whether it's through family. You know, I'm going back home for a little bit with parents. It's not ideal, and I was really resistant about it, but they're there, and they're, you know, I have a place to stay for a while, you know, and so you might be surprised at who opens up the door for you and supports you. If you are if you are ready to take this step, and it's, you know, you're married or children or whatever, you have other people that you support, be open to the possibilities, and be open and allowing of all the support that's already here for you, because the energy that is here, the forces, this, you know, our guides and everyone that is here, even unconscious humans, are here to support you and are here to bring forth the new ways, and we're here to help each other, help one another, assist one another, in ways that you may probably don't know, don't realize, and can't even imagine. But I know that there's because of everything shifting, and because everything is changing, people are feeling the change, and people know that things are, when you feel the shift and you feel like you have to move, or you have to leave, or you have to go on your own, it's, people are feeling that that's part of the change, and you have to honor, instead of trying to fight or trying to stick to the old, because that's no longer going to be sustainable.
It's also part of a quantum jump too. So we've had moments where
Yes.
where you basically have to walk out of reality because you're walking into a new one. Like, and sometimes that new reality can't show up because there's something blocking it. Whether it's, and a lot of it has been, for me, there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to arrive that hasn't been able to, but there was programming between us that was blocking that. So that programming needed to be cleared, and the catalyst for that was this departure. And the other thing too is that, you can also be very real in your relationship if it's not working with you, is you can get very real and state, why are we still here? Like, there's obviously, if you're still in a relationship with someone and yet you kind of want to go, there's something you're still getting out of it. And so at the end of the day, and not getting out of it from a sake, I'm not speaking from a sake of greed or from ego, but there might be something that this person is serving a role in your life. Can you get real with that and then talk to each other about that and be like, hey, right now you're offering me comfort and support, or right now you're helping me to heal my inner child, or right now you're helping me to open up to my sexuality. Who knows, whatever it is. Like, there's so many facets, and if you can be real about that, that's a purified intention. Because a lot of it too is we really have to look at, what is my intention for entering this right now? What is my intention for staying here? Is this thing serving my highest good still? And if you get that no, then it either needs to restructure to where the energetics and the sacred geometry between each other and how it upholds the reality is that is sacred and divine. And if it can't be, then it's time to begin to clean house. But really being pure with your intentions. What is this person still doing here? And I know I'm seeing this a lot on my own with a lot of different friends regarding kids, where there's kids involved, and it's like, of course you're not going to separate because there's kids involved, and it's like, well, then if you can sit down and have that discussion with your partner to be like, hey, and I know it's difficult. For us, it's definitely, I'm going to say probably, well, I'm not going to try to say it's easier. It's still, there's human emotion involved with it. And when we work through that human emotion, the universe will always find a path for you. Especially if you're honoring your soul. That's the biggest thing. Honor your soul by honoring your truth. What does your heart want? Let your heart lead the way. But overall, just to state this, that would I have done it any other way? Well, I'll say this. I wouldn't have gotten it any other way. This was the way I had to receive the information and the insight about my own life, about my past lives, future timelines. So much I had to learn from this. Would I have done it any other way? I don't think I could have. Was it worth it?
It's okay. You can be honest about it. What I wanted to say is, you really do choose the perfect characters and the perfect players of your own play to assist you in the highest way possible.
Yeah.
And even though it might seem a little hard or a little tough to understand sometimes, especially if there's a lot of fear and judgment and distortion in the relationship, if you open yourself up and you allow yourself to really learn from the experience and go deeper into yourself and see all the stuff that this person is trying to show you, then you're going to be able to free yourself, and you won't need someone else as, whatever relationship that you have with a person. You won't need someone else to show you. And so this is what, when you really open up and allow yourself to see what this person's trying to show you and go deep down into your stuff and go into and say, okay, I obviously have things that I couldn't have seen any other way. Yeah. And so you just honor that person for what it's showing you, and then you honor yourself for taking on whatever it is that you've taken on, and release, move on. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a story that we keep telling ourselves. the story that we both kind of we dug for each other, kind of thing, and you just move on to the next reality, the next magical reality, the next beautiful reality that is definitely on the other side of all of this.
And you know, the truth of it is, this too is like discussing this from a higher self perspective. Well, I wouldn't say complete higher self perspective, but from a higher perspective, it might seem a little cold at times. But like, truthfully, you know, deeply, you can find magic even in this stuff. Even in these moments of heartbreak, you can find the magic and the light at the end of the tunnel. And we can keep all of these connections sacred, even if they entered into territory that wasn't so sacred at the time. There was something very sacred and divine about that, and that's why it occurred in the first place. It was for our divinity and for our expansion, our growth, and for our acceleration. And so, proud to have had you on this journey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's interesting because we started this out by making videos online, long distance.
Oh.
And so it's actually, what's really cool is I wouldn't have my channel if it wasn't for Sam. So, you know, it's really cool because the beauty of that is me being here talking on this right now wouldn't have happened without her. So, really cool.
We were catalysts in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for a lot of growth.
We sparked a lot of things, conscious and unconscious, and pretty and ugly in each other. But that's what we chose, and that's what we are here to. That's what we came here to help each other on. And now it's like, okay, time to fly away and be free and go do amazing things.
Yeah.
For this world and for each other, essentially, for new realities.
Yeah. And to go out on another adventure into the unknown, right?
Into the unknown.
So, anyways, at 42 minutes, I think we covered enough bases there. Yeah. So, thank you guys for supporting me and supporting our journey. You know, we wouldn't have this beautiful home, our Harvey, the RV, without our supporters, and people that donated and helped us out, and continue to show up and help us out. You know, the journey will be what we make of it. But you know, we're excited and we're holding on to hope. And yeah, this is what happens, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with a little pain.
It's just an emotion. You gotta honor it.
And you're talking about heart opening. Gosh, talk about heart opening.
Goodness.
Talk about heart opening. So,
oh yeah.
Anyways, I think that's our
little share. If you guys are in any similar situation, or you know that you might be soon, you're not alone.
And reach out.
Reach out to any of us. Yeah. Don't hold it in. You know, don't try to sacrifice, you know, your light for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of the partner, for the sake of the kids, for the sake of your parents, for the sake of the world, for the sake of what people will say. Don't, because it's only going to get harder and harder and harder. And so if you honor what your light, what your soul needs are, and what your soul desires, and what you came here to do, if you honor your journey, everything is going to align for you in the most unexpected and miraculous way. You just have to be really honest and truthful, and allow and communicate and open up. And this whole new world is here, supporting you. Gaia is here, and she's never gonna let you down, no matter what. And so it's about you taking those steps, even if they may seem small. Just take those little steps, and move forward. and it's all gonna be okay. But you do have to go through the emotion and the separation and all the wounds and all the stuff that you've been holding back from. I feel like when we, even just a month ago, when we honored ourselves and we shared and we communicated and we said, okay, this is the next step. We know that this is going to be the next step for us. Everything just kind of blew up for me in a way, in a good way, to clear a lot of gunk and junk and emotional clearing that I still have within me. And so know that there is an emotional clearing that probably will happen after, and for however long. And so honor that. And again, reach out, have our websites and emails. If you have any questions, if you want any support, if you need advice, we're here to share our story and just kind of see how we did and what we did.
Yeah.
And if it helps and supports in a way, then we'll be happy to share.
Now, I'd love to help the men with this, because I know that when this happens, I know for me, I'm not what I would call a man's man, but there's that male programming of throwing up the middle finger and ghosting or running away. And so if you are a female watching this and you feel like this would help your partner or someone that's a guy, I'd love to work with them, because there's been this really deep catalytic healing of nurturing the inner child, practicing self-love by feeling everything, learning to love my body again, to cherish my body, taking care of it, which is still a process evolving, but allowing myself to feel all that and to support myself and to nurture myself, to mother myself. Mother myself has been a big one. And so if there's other men that are going to be encountering this or encountering this right now, please reach out, because you're not alone, and it's safe to cry. It's safe to feel all those things, and it's safe to come down. At the end of the day, it's like she's just standing in for my mom.
Yeah, we've had to play a lot of roles. A lot of roles. The mom, the dad,
the ancestor,
the aunts, the uncles, the brother, sister, the
soul family,
everything. And this is what happens when you have a relationship, and a twin relationship, where you heal so much, because that person plays the role of a certain kind of stereotype, or a certain a person in the other person's life that they still have.
Well, even star families that don't get along, we have certain soul aspects that cannot be in the same place at the same time. Like, she'll be going through a moment where she's got a soul aspect that's coming through in mine, and it's just like we look at each other and it's like, this cannot happen here. So there's more to it. It's more than just the representation of the archetypes of Earth, but there's also, and that's the storylines between the different star systems that have happened, that have had to clear. So, and that's a whole interesting concept to go into.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But we've had to wear different masks and different, like, literal masks hiding parts of ourselves, but we've also worn different hats, I would say. Different hats in the relationship. And at the end of the day, for being a man, having to go in and forgive my mother, and then, forgive my own womb space and do my own sacral healing and all that stuff, has been, it's still transforming, and I got a lot to go through with that. Clearing this stuff too out of the physical body has been a big one. So if you have any questions of that, if you're going through a breakup and you're going through a lot of physical pains, holla at your boy. I'm on a bunch of different cleanses right now to clear out all this stuff, and it's been painful. Some days I can't even walk, but it's okay, because it's all that stuff leaving the human body, all that carbon-based stuff leaving. So, anyways, thank you guys. Much love and respect to everyone out there. Thank you again for the journey, for the well wishes, for the support. But for now, this is done. Onward and upward, Buttercup.
Onward and upward.
Cool. And we'll see you guys individually and even together on some stuff soon.